Hello learners, welcome to episode 9, Pandas data frame. Yes, we will now be moving to one interesting topic of Python, which is data frame. And the most widely used libraries for a data frame is Pandas. So NumPy and Pandas are two basic things which you always need to use when you are starting your machine learning code and your journey. So without much ado, let's start with what is Pandas and learn some basics of Pandas today. So Pandas is a Python library used for working with dataset. It has functions for analyzing, cleaning, exploring and manipulating data. So basically Pandas से हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हम डेटा को एनालाइज कर सकते हैं, हम डेटा को क्लीन कर सकते हैं, एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं एंड उसको मैनिपुलेट भी कर सकते हैं. सो अगर हमको कोई डेटा ऐसा आता है जिसमें ब्लैंक वैल्यूज हो या फिर जिसमें इनकरेक्ट वैल्यूज हो, सपोज इफ देयर इज अ स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक or if a particular value is not populated, that can be like easily seen in the data, and you can also explore the data like what is the outlier values, what is a 50th percentile, what is a 10th percentile. All those things you can easily do with pandas function. And also you can manipulate the data. What is manipulating the data? So manipulating is like adding something, like multiplying two numbers, like multiplying or adding some value to a particular number, changing the format of the data. All those things are comes under manipulation. So हम डेटा के साथ कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, हम उसको क्लीन कर सकते हैं, एनालाइज कर सकते हैं, एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं. ये सारी चीजें हम कर सकते हैं डेटा के साथ यूजिंग पांडास लाइब्रेरी. सो पांडा हम हेल्प अस टू एनालाइज द बिग डेटा. इससे हम काफी बड़े डेटा सेट पे कर सकते हैं. और जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला कि प्रोसेसिंग पावर इज वेरी लेस. सो वंस यू यूज पांडास यू कैन डू things very quickly. Everybody wants quick results, right? So pandas is something which helps you give quick results, and you'll be able to analyze the data and come to a conclusion. It can clean the messy data set and make them readable and relevant. You will be able to read the data because the data frame, the pandas data frame, it stores the data in a table format, and table is something which is very readable, so which is very easy to read. So you'll be able to read the data in the pandas data frame. So as I said, pandas is like a column in a table. It is a one-dimensional array holding any type of data. So if you see how to import pandas, this is the command. Pandas को कैसे import करते हैं? Import pandas as PD. So ये main library है, and again ये इसका alias है. जैसे हमने numpy किया था, हमने उससे पहले के libraries किए थे. फिर हम यहाँ पे एक लिस्ट डालते हैं, a इज इक्वल टू a1,7,2. सो ये उस लिस्ट के एलिमेंट है, और इसको हम एक सीरीज फॉर्मेट में रखते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पे एक सिंगल रो है. बट जब यहाँ पे एक मल्टीपल रोज मल्टीपल कॉलम्स आ जाएगा तो वो एक डेटा फ्रेम हो जाएगा, और उसको हम एज अ डेटा फ्रेम भी यूज कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पे इफ यू सी वी आर पुटिंग इनपुट पांडाज एज पीडी कैलोरीज, एंड हमने काफी डिक्शनरी वाली वैल्यूज दी हैं. डे 1 इक्वल टू 420, डे 2 इक्वल टू 380, डे 3 इक्वल टू 390. सो ये सारी वैल्यूज हम यहाँ पे दे रहे हैं. एंड देन वी आर ऑल्सो स्टोरिंग दीज वैल्यूज इन माई वेर. ये सारी वैल्यूज हम एक सीरीज फॉर्मेट में डाल के हम उसको माई वेर में स्टोर कर रहे हैं. तो हम पांडास के अंदर एक सीरीज भी बना सकते हैं, हम डेटा फ्रेम भी बना सकते हैं. ये हमारे ऊपर है कि हम को किस टाइप का डेटा मिल रहा है. जैसे मैंने बोला कि अगर एक पर्टिकुलर रो है तो उसको हम सीरीज में स्टोर कर सकते हैं, बट जनरली लॉन्ग टर्म में जो हम आगे जाके सबसे ज्यादा यूज करेंगे वो है एक डेटा फ्रेम. as I said, because you will always get a two-dimensional data set in which you have rows and columns, and like you can store the data in that particular format. Now pandas data frame is a two-dimensional data structure. As I said, it it is like a table or an array. So if you see, you get these two rows. These are the calories and this is the duration. So how can you easily store it in two columns, right? So first column tells you calories and second tells you duration. So like suppose this is for the first person, like who's burning 420 calories by running 50 minutes, right? The second person is burning 380 calories by running 40 minutes, and subsequently 390 running in 45 minutes. So all of these are aligned. So this is for the first person, this is for the second person, and this is for the third person. So ये जो डेटा है, ये हम इस तरह से समझ सकते हैं कि कितनी कैलोरी बर्न हुई कितनी देर रनिंग करके. तो this is the data stored in this particular format. And then again, this is a key function which you need to memorize and you need to remember. ये हमको अच्छे से याद होना चाहिए क्योंकि ये एक ऐसा फंक्शन है जो हम बार बार ऑलमोस्ट हर दूसरे लाइन में यूज करेंगे स्टार्टिंग में एक डेटा फ्रेम बनाने के लिए, राइट? सो df इज इक्वल टू pd डॉट डेटा फ्रेम डेटा प्रिंट df। तो यहाँ पे ये pd डॉट डेटा फ्रेम से एक डेटा फ्रेम बन जाएगा और फिर आप उसको प्रिंट भी कर सकते हैं। तो ये है पांडास बनाने का सिंपल तरीका, एंड दिस इज हाउ अ टेबल लुक्स लाइक। दिस इज just a snippet. Once we run the code, we'll see how actually the data looks like. So pandas use the attribute to return one or more specific values. So if you remember, we discussed regarding the log function and arrays as well. So you can locate a particular value, like what is at the zeroth place if it is a single row. If you want to see the zeroth place in the first column, you can do df 0 dot log 0 comma 1, and then print will again print whatever values are stored there. तो यहाँ से हम किसी को भी लोकेट कर सकते हैं, उसका एक पर्टिकुलर इंडेक्स की वजह से उसको लोकेट कर सकते हैं। So then you can also name your indexes. Like if you are storing it in a particular value, you can store it in form of day one, day two, and day three. So we were earlier guessing like these are three different persons. Just imagine if it is the same person who's running on day one, day two, day three, and I want to tag these two values with day one, these two with day two, and these two with day three. तो इस हिसाब से हम यहाँ पे उसको एक पर्टिकुलर इंडेक्स को एक नेम दे सकते हैं। इंडेक्स एज एन आप सिंपल टर्म्स में समझ सकते हैं, उस पर्टिकुलर कॉलम को हम एक नेम दे सकते हैं जो कि होगा डे वन, देन होगा डे टू, एंड देन होगा डे थ्री। तो इस हिसाब से हम पर्टिकुलर डेटा को एक नेम दे सकते हैं। नाउ हम जाते हैं सबसे एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट स्टेप पे, जो है लोडिंग और एनालाइजिंग द डेटा। तो जब तक आपका जो डेटा है वो आप पाइथन के अंदर नहीं लाएंगे, जैसे हमने देखा कि गूगल को लैब नोटबुक में वी गेट द डेटा एंड वी स्टोर द डेटा, सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू store the data at some place. Until the point you are not able to bring that data, you cannot do any next step, right? So it is like to study you have to open the book. So loading the data is like opening a book. Like you need to have that data and you need to like see what is the data before doing anything to the data, right? So a simple way to store a data is using a csv file, which is a comma separated file, and you can just use the function. So pandas already has an inbuilt function name as read underscore csv. You can use this function, and if you have any data.csv which has say 10,000 rows, 5 lakh rows, or 100k rows, you can easily run it through this, and it would hardly take less than a minute to store. Might be only 10 to 20 seconds to store a data in a data frame, and then you can easily convert this to a string as well. So this is a way of like storing the data frame. Now there are various methods to see how your data looks like. Suppose somebody has provided your Excel and you want to load it and you want to see. You don't want to open the Excel and by seeing those things, you want to see directly in Python. So then there are few ways of seeing how your data looks like. What are the different values? What are the different data types in the data? So then we will discuss some of the methods. So head is one of the method in which you are able to return a specific number of rows from the top. So suppose if I do head 5, okay, so then what it will do, it will return the top 5 rows. So suppose like we were having the data in which we had calories and uh, time, okay. So both of them are numbers, okay. So if I did not know, I may want to see that okay, it is calories, and both the columns are number and these are the values. So only if, even if I see only 5 rows, I'll be able to understand the data. वो 5 रो देख के भी मैं ये समझ सकता हूँ कि वो डेटा कैसा है, राइट? तो वो डेटा जो है वो मतलब ऐसा डेटा है जिसमें 2 कॉलम्स है और दोनों नंबर कॉलम है। सो दिस इज द advantage of having head. Suppose there is a third column जिसमें name भी है. Suppose there is a name say Aman, there is a name Rahul, there is a name Rohan. So all three are different persons, and we have one column which has string data type also, which has names. तो head and tail का यही यूज होता है। head क्या करता है, टॉप 5 सेलेक्ट कर सकता है, एंड टेल बॉटम 5 सेलेक्ट कर सकता है। सो दिस इज हाउ head and tail works like. And if you want to get information about the data, that what is the data type where this column is used, then you have a column name as info. So that gives you more information about the data set, that how the data set is, how many rows, how many columns, what are the data types. So all these things are really important to analyze the data. Now, data cleaning. Data cleaning is something which is means fixing the bad data in your data set. So as I said, you can fix the empty cell data in wrong format, duplicate. So हम duplicate हटा सकते हैं, हम empty cell हटा सकते हैं, कहीं पे spelling mistake हो गया हम वो हटा सकते हैं. So all of these different things we can try to do, and we have to clean the data. So remember, like there is a process of loading the data, cleaning the data, doing some modeling on the data, validating the data. But data cleaning is something which takes 60 to 70% of your time. So suppose if you are doing a project of 1 month, then imagine like you will spend at least 50 to 20 days in cleaning the data and loading the data and those things. Because until your data is properly clean and it has correct values, your model will start throwing bad errors. Okay, so data cleaning is something which we will definitely study in much depth. But yeah, this is a very important concept which you need to know before going to the next step. And like these are some simple techniques of cleaning the data, like drop NA. So and drop NA will do nothing but drop the NA values from the data set. So if you want to change the data frame, you can also do it by inserting a new values as well. So one you can drop the values and one you can insert. So it is always recommended, say when the like percentage of data, जो डेटा मिसिंग है वो बहुत कम है, सपोज आपके पास 1000 रोज है, 2 या 3 रो मिसिंग है, यू कैन रिमूव इट. बस जस्ट इमेजिन अगर 1000 रोज में से एक ऐसा कॉलम है जिसमें 500 रोज मिसिंग है, एंड इफ यू डिलीट 500 रोज, so you are actually deleting 50% of your data, right? So which is not a recommended practice. Then you should look into the ways of replacing that data, maybe average of that column or max of that column, or you can also see the prior values of that particular columns which are there. So anything, you'll have to analyze the data and you can put in those data. But definitely deleting 50% of the data is not a good practice. Okay. So coming to next points of cleaning the data. So cleaning wrong format can be little difficult, and that's the reason I told that we need to analyze the data and spend some time. But definitely it is not impossible. Nothing is impossible. Neither learning data science, neither deleting the wrong data. So we can remove the rows, convert all cells into columns, and these things we can do. So now import pandas as PD. PD.read CSV. We can read it like this, and then we can also like convert a particular column in a particular format. So like to date time is a function inside pandas to convert a column into date time data type. Okay. So this is like converting a column which might be in a string into a correct format, which is date time. So this is one of the ways of again cleaning the data. Wrong data does not have to be empty cell or wrong format. It can just be wrong, registered by manually incorrect by someone, right? Suppose you are getting a value which should be 199 instead of a decimal placed at the end, or maybe say a zero placed at the end. Or suppose you are analyzing some data in which you have different car names. Okay, so you have car brands like Maruti, Tata, and you have like 10,000 rows in which like 6,000 are Maruti, 3,999 are Tata, and one is Maruti. Okay, like a is missing out of that. So you know, right, that that is something which is incorrect. You can simply correct those rows in which such type of spelling mistakes are there. So you can identify which column and which row or which column you need to correct, and you can simply do it by the log function. Okay, so the seventh row in the column is duration. You can simply replace it with 45. Suppose if it is 4.5, 450, whatever, you can simply clean it by using these particular values. So I hope you are understanding regarding the uh, cleaning of the wrong data. So then pandas also has a function of plot. What is plot? Plot is to see something, visualize something, right? We can draw some data and you can see how the data looks like. Suppose like we were seeing the calorie data. So day one will be 450, then 390, then 440. So it can be increasing line, decreasing, increasing line, anything like that. So that is how the plotting looks like. And we'll discuss plotting in our episode 11 in very detail. Matplotlib is a particular library which is used for plotting, which is a specialized library for visualization of the tool. But Pandas also gives you a head start, and you can do a simple plot using Pandas library as well. So I just wanted to keep this part. And then there are very advanced functionalities which you can use, but these are all the initial functionalities of Panda, and I would like you to start exploring these and learn more. And we'll cover Pandas practical session in the next video. So I hope you'll go through this in detail. And if you want these PPT, please comment your email ID below, and I'll be definitely sending you these PPTs. Hope you are enjoying all the videos. Just be at pace. Just be like little more disciplined and put in your efforts. And definitely, as I said, there is nothing impossible to learn. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.